Johnny, let's talk Kliff Kingsbury. Let's talk offense. Let's talk no huddle. You were there last week when Brian Robinson said he expects to see a lot more no huddle. Now, some of that is they barely ran any. So if you go from 5 to 7, that's still more. But Kliff, you go back through the numbers for what he did in Arizona. There was a fair amount of no huddle. It led the NFL. Where do you think Kliff is in kind of his second go around running an offense in the NFL? What he's looking to do, how he helps Jayden?
Well, the hard part for us to know is what's the influence of guys like Brian Johnson and Anthony Lynn? Because, what is their influence on – he's not going to – Kliff Kingsbury isn't going to just throw away what he's done, but how do they enhance what he can do or what he wants to do with the run game, with the pass game, whatever. So I think that's one thing we don't know yet. And, what the other part of it is too, this will be the first time he's an offensive coordinator in this league. So what does it look like when he has more time just to focus on this, and as opposed to being a head coach and focusing on the offense? Because one of the things in Arizona that they would complain about is the second half of the season drop off. And and there could be a few. One year is Kyler Murray's out, so there's going to be a natural drop off. But that was one of the things that you would hear from Arizona when he was there. And, but you're a head coach doing all this. It's not an easy job. And so what does it look like when he's just got the chance to just focus on this, incorporate what these guys want to do, et cetera? And I know like Jayden has talked about being excited because of what he saw him do with Kyler Murray and incorporating those skills. And it's funny because just because they both come around, they're different quarterbacks. And I think Jayden can be obviously a more effective passer from the pocket. So I'll be curious to see how he does that compared to how he used Kyler, who's really good at throwing off platform and doing different things. And both can run, but they're different. So, but I think how does he help Jayden? I think part of it is knowing that he's a rookie and having gone through that with Kyler Murray, and how do you protect a rookie? And part of that is we saw this last year was not how they should protect a young quarterback. And so I think you're going to see a better balance of run pass, but along with that, do they have enough on the offensive line? We still don't know that answer yet.
I tell you what, me and B got to look at Coleman yesterday.
Big boy.
Well, it was interesting seeing him just in person, no helmet, not practice. He's big enough to play tackle, I would say.
He's got the length. The one thing is his height may not he's what, little more than 6'4", and I will say this: when you look at him, he's thicker like a guard would be, right? The difference is he has his arm length. At the combine, he was in the top 10 in arm length for tackles. He was in the bottom third or bottom several for height, but he has the length. So that's the big key. It's the length. And he has that, and he has really good footwork. He was a basketball player and a good one. So that does help. And so I think they're certainly going to give him that chance, but we don't know when does he mature to become a starter, right? And what does it look like when he does? We don't know that yet. We don't know the answer to that yet. So, he's got that length and he has good footwork. Those are two really good things for a left tackle.
Hey, Rashawn Slater, what's his size? Because when you look at him, he doesn't look like a typical tackle. He looks a little bit more stocky. And I see him whip a lot of people's ass consistently.
Yes. No. I don't think. I just
listed
think that's
6'4", 315 for Rashawn Slater.
Okay,
about the same size, right?
Right, exactly. And so that's my point. My only thing, though, in saying that is, I just wonder if that's why people look at him as a guard because of that. But when you look at the measurements and the footwork and the athleticism, it's more tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They certainly think he's a tackle, and they are confident in that. What do you think? Mitch and Tischler had this debate the other day, and B and I kind of talked about it. Who do you think has the bigger impact this season, McCaffrey or Dotson?
Oh man, I still think Jahan can play, right? And I I mean, it sounds like who took McCaffrey?
Mitch. I took Dotson.
I'm sticking with Dotson
now,
because
maybe this was a straight up yardage thing. But
I'm still sticking with Dotson. I think McCaffrey can. I don't know what he's going to do, but I think he can become, based on what you know. And listen, I think that kid made a lot of progress in 2 years as a receiver after changing positions. I think obviously good football genes, but it's more than that. It's like the way you work, the way you approach it, good quickness, all that helps. But I think Jahan, and I think he's one guy who's probably as looking forward to this season as anybody after how maybe what he could or couldn't do last year, or how he felt he was used, or et cetera. Yeah. And he's, when he's talking about looking forward to going back and being a route runner again, that's his strength. And it's not like you're not running routes, but like, what are they allowing? And I don't this is a general statement, but sometimes is it what are they asking you? How are they asking you to run your routes? Right. And one of the things I go back to is that play he made the other day in training or OTAs, whatever it is.
Dude, that was a hell of a catch.
It was a great catch. But the big thing was what Terry McLaurin was so excited about was how he used his hands at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And if that's improved and he's getting away quicker, he's really good at the top of separating. And that's where I think he can be more effective. So that's why I think the kid's got talent. And I haven't given up the belief that he can have a much better year.
I just think that last year when they started figuring out a few things about him, you got to be able to try to come with an adjustment, and that goes on the coaches that are setting up the game plan and also on the player. But a lot of times the scheme can help you out, but you got to also work on some things because defensive players are watching every move you make, and if you don't have some type of counter to it, you're gonna get caught.
Oh, and this, that's why to me it's always interesting to see if a guy has a good year, that the offseason is spent trying to take away that thing by another team. So how do you adjust? It's just like a hitter in baseball. Like, okay, oh man, I'm just hitting the hell out of these fastballs. Well, now we'll start throwing you some outside, some sliders or whatever.
Curves.
Yeah, can you hit that? So if you're, but that's the adjustment. So, but I think that's for him is if he's better at the line of scrimmage, creating a little bit of separation, that's going to really help him. And, Jayden is good at throwing that, really good at throwing that slot fade, man.
He is.
We saw that. So, if he can create some separation on that, I still think that he can be a good part of this offense. I haven't seen reason to not think that. I know he hasn't had I know he had some drops. But I do think that he's still, when you watch, 2 years ago, watch him get open, there are a lot of times, he's not getting the ball, but he's getting open. And my thing was always, is he getting open? The answer was yes. And there were definitely times last year where you saw it, not as, I think obviously had better numbers in his rookie year, but not to what you thought it might be. But I think this will be a big year for him to show, yes, he can do this.
I think it's obviously a huge opportunity. Dude, what are you hearing about this 18-game schedule? Because it seems like it might be happening.
Feels inevitable, doesn't it?
It sure does. And I'm just curious, how do you – because I was talking with Stanek about this yesterday. How do you think they would break it all down? Would it just be – because what coaches and front office people want is to get that long break. And right now they get that long break in the summertime where they can actually, for a month, be a part of their family. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can put media in that group as well.
I know.
They can do that now early in the year.
Yeah, but kids are in school. That's what summer. That's what the advantage of summer.
They do have two different points in the spring where you have summer vacation. I mean, you have the spring vacation and all that.
Yeah, here's the hard part with that though. The league likes to occupy every month.
Right.
They will always have something that will make it difficult for people to do that. But listen, I'm not that aside. People listening aren't going to care about our social schedule, whatever. But or theirs. But I do think they're going to have the Super Bowl going till President's Day weekend, and if you're in that, it makes it really hard to do any of that. So, but I think you have to have 2 bye weeks, right?
If you go to 18,
you have to have them.
That's the plan.
So. Yeah, and I could see, like, if they did the summer thing, I could see a ramp-up period where you take, like, for example, this year where you have, like, they reported in, April 2nd to here because it was a new coach, but, like, let's say it's April 2nd, and you go till mid-May where it's just, like, a slow, like, you're working out, you're conditioning, you're doing some walkthroughs, and that's all maybe behind the scenes without us there. Now, it's not good for the workers in the building for that because they're the ones who get kind of screwed in this. But from a player standpoint, like, you understand, I'm sure for some, they say, if you're going to have us play 18 games, we need more time for our bodies to recover before we get back into that period. Mm-hmm. And Brian, you can talk more about that. Like, how much time, what's the realistic time to get that body feeling okay again to ramp back up? That's something that I don't know.
Different times for different people. Because
yeah,
and I'm not trying to make myself into something special. I never had a problem when March came to be getting ready to go. Actually, Art Monk and Darryl Green both told me take a week or two off and then start doing something, and your body will never ever get out of shape, and you won't have to worry about weight coming on. And I started doing it because the first year I left here, I gained 25 pounds. The following years, I never gained that weight again.
Yeah, and I think some of you guys are built differently, with mentally and physically. But I think mentally, you guys are different. That's why you lasted as long as you did. Mm-hmm. But I do wonder about that, like, because I can't speak to that, and like how much of that is what it is, and then it's like, well, quit making it basically a voluntary, involuntary situation, and just make it. You have to come here, but it's from this time of the year. And is that going to be the concession the owners grant in order to get that 18th game?
See that, and I think if I'm the players, enough. I don't think that's enough.
Oh, I don't think it'd be enough either. But it's like that would be part of it. What else do you think they would need?
It has to go about cash and the percentages of what we're getting.
Okay.
Because but just think about this. I remember when players were mad because they couldn't work out at certain points of the offseason because you wasn't allowed in the building.
Right.
Now you just tell them don't come at all until like in June.
That's why I'm saying I don't think it'll work.
That don't make much sense to me.
Well, I wonder if, like, because I think for some, a guy like John Allen's in town. So, like, would a guy like that be allowed to go to the facility and work out because he's in town? I don't know.
It used to not be like that before, but we'll see what changes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But, I mean, it is – I don't know when that will happen. I know they're talking about for maybe next year. That feels kind of fast, but because, like, nothing's even been agreed upon. But we are certainly seem to be headed toward that 18th game.